We are The Source, WOCA.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Come on, come on, come on.
All right, 25 minutes before 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning. Hope you're doing well. It is 70 degrees here at The Source, WOCA, broadcasting live from the Paddock Mall just outside the WOCA commissary. And it's time for NewsBites. This is the segment of AM Ocala Live during which Robin and I read the news to you, and we do it in brevity, and we get to the point and gives you a chance to hear the news without spending all day trying to do so. I'll tell you the news agency we're getting the stories from, and Robin will do the same. And that will give you what you need to know so that you can look up the story and read it for yourself in its entirety. The first story does come from the Wall Street Journal. Federal authorities have issued a warning to police departments across the country to watch out for lone wolf terror attacks in the wake of the U.S.-led airstrikes on Islamic State targets in Syria. According to several reports, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI issued the warning yesterday, hours after American and coalition forces pounded militant targets in the Middle East. The warning, according to the Wall Street Journal, pertains to homegrown extremists who have sympathy for the Islamic State and other terror groups. Last week, it was reported that Islamic State supporters were advocating lone wolf attacks in New York City's Times Square, along with tourist areas in Las Vegas and Texas using homemade bombs. One online post included a how-to guide on making a bomb with household items. New York City Commissioner William Bratton told the New York Post he is quite concerned about the terror group's capabilities.
Some are calling it the latte salute. When President Obama stepped off Marine One at the Wall Street landing zone in New York City en route to the United Nations, he saluted two Marines at the bottom of the stairs as he held a coffee cup in the same hand. The unusual gesture appeared in an Instagram video posted by the White House on social media. Obama is also wearing sunglasses as he arrived, with the First Lady not far behind. The video drew ridicule from some Instagram users who saw the unorthodox salute as unpresidential. Hopefully it was just a slip by this president, one user posted. Others saw unnecessary nitpicking in the criticism, reported by ABC.
From the Associated Press, President Barack Obama is addressing the United Nations as a commander-in-chief overseeing a war against militants in two Middle Eastern nations, a striking shift in the trajectory of a presidency that had been focused on ending conflicts in the region. Instead, when he speaks to the world body today, he will cast the U.S. as the linchpin in efforts to defeat Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria, administration officials said. After weeks of launching strikes against militant targets in Iraq, Obama extended the military action into Syria on Monday, joined by an unexpected coalition of 5 Arab nations, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates, joining the U.S. in carrying out airstrikes, while Qatar playing a supporting role. The partnership with Arab countries marked a rare victory for Obama during a tough stretch in which his foreign policy has been challenged not only by Middle East militants, but also by Russia's provocations in Ukraine and an Ebola outbreak in West Africa.
The Florida State University Board has selected John Thrasher to be the next president of FSU. The board voted 11-2 to hire Thrasher yesterday. Thrasher, a state senator, former Florida House Speaker, and the current co-chairman of Rick Scott's re-election campaign, is considered one of Florida's more powerful politicians. Supporters cited his political connections and business experience as bonuses, noting that he had helped the school gain a medical school. The selection of Thrasher comes over the objections of both some members of the faculty and many students. Their contention is that Thrasher may have political clout, but he lacks the background to run a university. Thrasher, however, had been favored by the FSU board in the contest that featured entrants from Alabama, Colorado, and West Virginia. The other contestants for the post were noted for their academic backgrounds and credentials. Thrasher had been considered a front-runner by the board ever since he first applied for the looming vacancy. The post has been held by an interim president ever since Eric Barron stepped down to helm Penn State University, reported by the Florida News Network.
And from the Associated Press, Pope Francis is urging international assistance to fight the Ebola virus in Africa. Francis also urged the 30,000 people who attended his weekly general audience this morning to pray for the victims. It was the second time in as many days that Francis has raised the alarm about Ebola and called for international assistance to care for those affected. He issued a similar appeal yesterday during a meeting with bishops visiting from Ghana.
Al-Qaeda veterans in Syria were in the final stages of plans to execute major attacks against Western targets and potentially the U.S. homeland. The Pentagon suggests that the airstrikes against ISIS specifically were only the beginning of a fight that could take years. Lieutenant General William Mayvell, Director of Operations for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said 8 U.S. airstrikes went after Khorasan targets west of Aleppo, Syria's largest city, including training camps and an explosive and munitions production facility. Asked whether the Khorasan threat had been eliminated by those strikes, Mayville said that the Pentagon was still assessing the effects, reported by MSNBC.
And this is from the Associated Press. The man who killed 2 former co-workers and then himself at a UPS shipping center yesterday had told some people that he was having problems at work, but never suggested the situation might turn violent, according to a statement from his pastor. Birmingham police late yesterday identified the shooter as 45-year-old Kerry Joe Tesney of suburban Trussville. They did not release the slain people's names, but said they were part of management. They were investigating as a double homicide and suicide. Tesney and his wife have 2 children, and they've been members at North Park Baptist Church since 2003, according to the church's pastor, Bill Wilkes. Wilkes described Tesney as being troubled over his work and financial situation. He said, "I think it's been an ongoing situation in his own spirit. He's been troubled, and he's asked for prayer about that."
Wolverine, Ghost Rider, the Incredible Hulk, all of these characters have at least one awesome trait in common: the ability to heal themselves. And now the Pentagon wants to give ordinary people this superhuman capability. A new military-sponsored program aims to develop a tiny device that can be implanted in the body, where it will use electrical impulses to monitor the body's organs, healing these crucial parts when they become infected or injured, reported by CBS.
Wow. The next story is from CNN. The noodles were not just tasty, they were addictive. A Chinese noodle vendor in northern Shaanxi province has been detained for 10 days after admitting he added powdered poppy plant, from which opium is made, to his dishes to keep customers coming back. The owner said that he bought 2 kilograms of the substance for $98 in August. He said he added it to his food to make it taste better and to improve his business. The opium-laced noodles came to light after police stopped a vehicle driven by a 26-year-old man and tested him for drugs not long after he had consumed a bowl of the noodles. The man was detained for 15 days on charges of drug abuse and was not released until family members told police how they had also eaten at the same restaurant and also tested positive for the drug.
Wow. A second fence has been erected along part of the White House grounds, pushing tourists and passerbys farther away after a fence jumper got into the executive mansion. The new waist-high barricade, which closes off part of the sidewalk on the Pennsylvania Avenue side of the White House, went up late Monday and early yesterday. It is about 8 feet from the regular spike-top fence. The barrier was erected after Iraq War veteran Omar Gonzalez, age 42, allegedly scaled the 7-foot fence on Friday, ran across the White House lawn, and entered the building through an open door, reported by Reuters.
All right, we're up against the clock, so we need to take a little break for a weather forecast as well as a couple of commercials, and then we'll be back. This is NewsBites. During NewsBites, we read the news in brief. Gives you a chance to catch up on the news without spending all day trying to do so. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, intervals of clouds and sun with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, mainly during the afternoon hours over the interior sections, high 84 to 88. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and thunderstorms, low 71 to 75. For tomorrow, some sun along with a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon hours, high tomorrow between 84 and 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, & Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, & Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. We are located in the heart of downtown Ocala, right next to the historic Marion Theater. I'd like to invite you to stop by and see our new boutique area and meet our staff of professional stylists. Here at Hello Gorgeous, we are ready to update your look with the latest trends. It's the perfect time to brighten up your look. So make your appointment now for those highlights and Brazilian blowout. But don't stop there. We are a full-service salon offering manicures, pedicures, and facials also. So if you've been searching for a salon to call your own, come and see us at Hello Gorgeous Salon. We are located at 48 South Magnolia Avenue in downtown Ocala, right next to the Marion Theater. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358.
Hello, gorgeous.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Fredericks Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Fredericks Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Fredericks Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Fredericks Appliance.
You're listening to WOCA Ocala.
All right, 12 minutes before 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Let's return to NewsBites. The next story is from the Bleacher Report, who is quoting an article from the Tennessean newspaper regarding Rob Baronis, the former Titans kicker who died at the age of 36 in a vehicle crash. This is what it says. 2 Belmont students say former Titans kicker Rob Baronis threatened to kill them and sideswipe the truck they were in before confronting a man and a woman in another car and trying to run their vehicle off the road Saturday night. Minutes later, Baronis lost control of his SUV and died in a one-car crash. Connor Fraley, a 20-year-old student, said he was a passenger in a pickup truck that Baronis tried to hit on Franklin Road during a high-speed chase after Baronis made threatening comments at an intersection minutes earlier. A woman at the scene of the fatal one-vehicle accident involving Rob Baronis alleges in a 911 call that the former Titans kicker tried to run her car off the road moments before crashing. In an 11:03 p.m. call to 911, the woman says she and her husband crossed paths with a white SUV. We let him go on past because he was trying to run us off the road, and we don't know who he is, the woman told the 911 operator. We just pulled out of his way, and we saw all this smoke and pulled over. The woman's voice, trembling with emotion, said she and her husband did not know the man driving the SUV. There is something wrong with him, she said. He gave us a mean look. We don't even know him, and he tried to run us off the road, she repeated. Police spokesman Don Aaron said police were made aware of the 911 call on Monday. The report from the citizen is part of the investigation. According to this report, Rob Baronis' wife, Rachel Bradshaw, is the daughter of Terry Bradshaw, and Rachel and Rob had been married just in June.
A handful of studies in recent years have examined the prevalence of phantom cell phone vibrations, and they've come up with impressive numbers. From 68% of the medical staff at a Massachusetts hospital to 89% of undergraduates at a Midwestern university to more than 90% of Taiwanese doctors in training in the middle of their internships. This is a quote from David Laramie, a clinical psychologist in Beverly Hills who did his doctoral thesis on people's relationships with their mobile phones. Phantom vibrations are this unusual curiosity that speaks to our connection with our phones. 2/3 of the people he surveyed had experienced one or the other. It's part of the modern landscape and our relationship with technology, reported by Wired.
From CBS News, the al-Qaeda-affiliated group the United States struck unilaterally was nearing the execution phase of an attack either in Europe or on the homeland, according to Lieutenant General William Mayville, Director of Operations for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, in a statement made yesterday. Mayville briefed reporters yesterday morning after the U.S. carried out airstrikes in Syria. 5 Arab nations in the region joined in strikes against the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also known as ISIS, ISIL, and IS, and the U.S. independently targeted the Khorasan group, which Pentagon spokesman Rear Admiral John Kirby said was plotting an imminent attack.
A group of United Nations independence experts today are calling on governments to make renewed efforts to ensure that children's views are heard and taken into account. There has been significant progress regarding children's rights in the past quarter of a century, but too many children still suffer violence, exploitation, and neglect, and too many are denied the right to health or a decent education. Children need to be part of the search for solutions to the many problems our world faces. This is a quote from Kristen Sandberg of the Committee on the Rights of the Child. She chairs the committee composed of 18 independent human rights experts, reported by UN News.
From CNN, thanks to the war on terror, the U.S. Department of Agriculture audit arm has 85 shiny new submachine guns locked and loaded, a small and mostly forgotten provision in the behemoth 2002 Homeland Security Act turned federal auditors famous for investigating nonviolent financial crimes into gun-toting sworn officers at 73 federal agencies and departments. Independent sub-agencies called the Offices of the Inspector General, or OIGs for short, conduct oversight, perform audits, and enforce laws. It is that last function that led the USDA to order the 40 caliber submachine guns in May. A spokesman for the USDA told CNN that these semi-automatic weapons were acquired on September 9th, 2014.
The Washington, D.C. City Council passed emergency gun legislation yesterday, requiring residents and visitors to adhere to strict guidelines to carry a concealed weapon in the U.S. Capitol. The move came after a federal judge in July overturned the District of Columbia's ban on carrying handguns outside the home, saying it was unconstitutional. The judge's order was under a temporary stay, giving the city time to fashion a new law, reported by Reuters.
From MSNBC, Chelsea Manning's lawyers yesterday officially filed a lawsuit against the Department of Defense in an effort to get gender reassignment surgery for Manning during her incarceration at Fort Leavenworth Prison. The lawsuit, which named Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel as a defendant, along with 2 commanding officers at the prison and the Defense Department, claims that Manning has been denied access to medically necessary treatment for her gender dysphoria. It seeks to compel defendants to treat her serious medical need consistent with their obligation under the Constitution.
Homeland Security Secretary Jed Johnson said at a House Homeland Security Committee hearing this morning that granting amnesty to millions of illegal aliens in the United States could encourage terrorists among them to come out of the shadows. This is his quote: "From my Homeland Security perspective, I want people who are living in this country undocumented to come forward to get on the books and subject themselves to a background check so that I can know who they are and whether it's the current Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program or a path to citizenship, whether it's deferred action or earned path to citizenship. From my Homeland Security perspective, I want people to come forward," reported by CNS News.
The Star Banner is reporting that two groups have announced plans to protest at tonight's planned prayer vigil scheduled to be held in the downtown Ocala Square. The prayer vigil was announced earlier in the week by Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham to bring solidarity to the community and to seek divine guidance in ending a rash of drive-by shootings that left 2 young children wounded. The report in the Star Banner states that the groups opposed to the prayer vigil are the Ocala Atheists and the American Humanist Association. Frances Jean Porgal, organizer of the Ocala Atheists and the Williston Atheists, is quoted in the newspaper article saying that she is opposed to the fact that the police chief and the mayor are the organizers of the event. The prayer vigil begins at 6:30 p.m. on the downtown square.
An Ohio college president says the school supports safety for skunks and for other furry creatures too. Miami University President David Hodge has thanked people for the ethical treatment of animals for its offer to send safety posters after a skunk recently got its head stuck in a beer can near a fraternity house. The posters urge people to crush cans for animal safety. Hodge wrote to PETA to say that the Advocates for Animals student group will work on the poster safety campaign. He says the school appreciates the effort to remind the community to crush and recycle cans, not only to preserve resources, but to protect animals from harm. Don't let this happen again. Reported by the Associated Press.
And from the Bloomberg report, Walmart Stores Incorporated reached a deal with prepaid card firm Green Dot Corporation to offer checking accounts to the retailer's customers, building on an expansion into financial services that U.S. banks have sought to block. The accounts offered through Green Dot's banking unit are linked to MasterCard Incorporated debit cards and don't charge overdraft, minimum balance, or monthly fees when customers use direct deposit. Bentonville, Arkansas-based Walmart said yesterday in a statement it will be available nationwide by the end of October. Walmart has expanded in financial services in the past decade, including a deal in April to provide money transfers. It has not been able to get a bank charter amid resistance from U.S. lenders and labor organizations, which opposed Walmart's application to open a Utah-based industrial bank in 2005.
Police officers often deliver citations, and in urgent circumstances, they've been known to deliver a baby. Now, here comes pizza. When a Pizza Hut driver hurt his neck and back in a crash earlier this month, 2 Portland Police Bureau officers heard him call his boss, and they offered to finish the delivery for him. Steve Huckins says he and his wife were a little worried when officers Michael Filbert and Royce Curtis showed up at the door on September the 1st. But when they heard the whole story, they broke out laughing. It turns out the Huckinses had been about to tuck into the Hawaiian pie that a Pizza Hut manager making double sure of delivery brought after they contacted him to see about their order. In possession of 2 pizzas, Huckins made a point of getting a picture in case there was any skepticism about how the second arrived. The delivery driver is reportedly recovering, but not yet back on duty, reported by the Associated Press.
And from the Associated Press, a speech at the United Nations, a spot next to Al Gore leading a massive climate change march, a prime speaking slot at a political conference in England. Those big stages all happening within a few days of each other have become more common for New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. His profile is on the rise both nationally and internationally, and he is increasingly viewed in political circles as a rising star, particularly in the most liberal wing of the Democratic Party. party. De Blasio's higher profile, partly a concerted effort by his team and partly a byproduct of leading the nation's largest city, has provided him everything from a platform from which to espouse his liberal political views to potentially setting him up as a valuable surrogate in the 2016 presidential election.
The National Institute for Health and Care Excellence is recommending limiting TV to help fight obesity and avoiding drinks with added sugar and limiting takeaways. The draft guidance, the first on the subject since 2006, is aimed at people, helping them maintain a healthy weight. Obesity rates nearly doubled over the past 10 years in England. The general rule for maintaining a healthy weight is that energy intake through food and drink should not exceed energy output from daily activity, reported by the BBC.
And that's all the time we have for News Bites. Remember, we do this each weekday to keep you in touch with what's going on around the world and around town and everything in between. Robin, how many stories today?
25.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The campaign against militants continuing with more airstrikes in Syria, with those actions also raising terror concerns.
A joint intelligence bulletin obtained by the AP warned that airstrikes targeting the al-Qaeda-linked Khorasan and Islamic State groups could also embolden homegrown extremists inside the U.S. who already have grievances with the U.S. because of military action in predominantly Muslim countries.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. The president talking about the war on terror in his address before the UN General Assembly this morning. In the Pocono Mountains region, search continues for the killer of a trooper. Police combing through the woods.
They have their guns drawn, pointed into the woods. They say they are confident that suspected cop killer Eric Freen is in these woods in northern Monroe County. We asked why they were so sure. They said because of stuff that we've retrieved.
Fox's Rick Leventhal. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Sending important work files as regular attachments is a big risk. You lose control the moment you hit send. That's why millions of professionals rely on Citrix ShareFile, the easy-to-use business solution for exchanging files quickly and securely. With ShareFile, send files of almost any size without bounce backs. Files are encrypted and remain under your control. Try Citrix ShareFile free for 30 days. Go to sharefile.com, click the microphone at the top of the homepage and enter information. That's sharefile.com, type in information.
What's the secret to great business trips? Choice Hotels, where you'll find everything a business traveler needs, like a generous rewards program. And right now, when you take 2 separate trips at Comfort Inn or any Choice Hotel, you can earn 1 night free. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and book now at choicehotels.com. Great endings begin here. Free night based on an 8,000-point Choice Privileges reward night at over 1,500 hotels. Valid 9/4/14 through